Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Friday edition of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. We are wrapping up yet another week. Another week is coming to a close, and we are preparing to slide into the weekend. And as we do, we want to do so with focus, with expectancy, with a growth mindset, preparing us to wrap this week up well and move into the weekend ready for rest and restoration, right? We need to unplug. We need to allow ourselves to rest and be restored because the new week will be upon us faster than we could imagine, right? That it's already the end of July. 3 days in next week, and we're already in August. So the first half of the year is gone, and we are well into the third quarter already. It's hard to believe how quickly time is flying. So we have to allow ourselves to be grounded. We have to have focus and a clear objective of what we want to do with our lives, with this quarter, with this month, with this week, with each day, and throughout the day. Focus is so important. It helps you to stay on track. And we've been talking all week this week about systems and having a system in place that supports what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Who's in your network? Do you have the tools you need? Are you getting the right inputs so that you can have the outputs that you desire? All of those things are within your control. We just have to focus on them. So today we're going to continue to focus on our system. And we want to talk about on this Focus Friday, fine tuning our system for maximum impact. When we have to fine tune our cars, right? When we get our cars, they only go for so long before they need some maintenance, right? They need some adjustment. Do we need to top off the oil? More often than we'd like, it needs more gas, right? Everything needs its own focus at its own time. And all of those things need to work together in order for that car to run at its maximum potential. That car is a machine, right? It needs maintenance. Our computers, anything that runs needs maintenance. I'm on an iPad now because I can't maintain my laptop anymore. It is just about done, right? Because probably didn't get enough maintenance, too much stuff on it, not enough clearing out and keeping it up and running at its maximum. And what happens? It runs out. All of a sudden, it's not operating the way that it used to. So I have to do alternative ways to continue to show up for you guys. Our bodies are no different. Our minds are no different. Our emotions are no different. All of those systems work together to support this thing that we call life, right? And when you have specific goals and things that you want to accomplish out of this life, you have to make sure that you're maintaining the overall system and that you have the right support system in place to keep things moving forward. When my computer crashed, I had a laptop. When I couldn't log into the laptop properly, I had cell phone, right? And all of those things have this app on there, and it allows me three chances. I've got three chances to get here every morning. So when one doesn't go, I grab the other, right? That's a contingency plan. That's backup. That's other ways to get things done, right? When I'm traveling and I can't get here in real life, I have replays. I can go back into the archives and pull out something that you guys haven't seen in a long time and let that play. If we still want to go live, Brian is here. He can carry on. I had to step away. I think it was Tuesday. I was only here for a few minutes, and then I had to go and take a meeting. So Brian kept it going, right? Backup, alternative plans, someone in my corner who's working with what I've got going on. That's all a part of my system. And then last night I made sure I got a good night's sleep. I went to the chiropractor yesterday and got some adjustments and some teaching and a little bit of fussing about how I'm taking care of the physical body. I can look now and see those shoulders tilted. I wouldn't have paid attention to it had I not gone and gotten that maintenance yesterday and had a professional look at what what I've got going on. She's like, I see your neck is out of alignment. I'm not surprised that you're experiencing that pain. Your hips are not rotated quite right anymore. Things have slipped out of place. I'm going to put them back. I'm going to get you in alignment. But in order for it to stay, there are some things that you have to do, right? You have to raise your computer so that it's eye level. You have to sit in a certain type of chair. You have to make sure when you're on your phone, you're not looking down at it because you're hyperextending your neck. And all of that is throwing your physical system out of place and out of alignment. So things aren't operating as well as they should. So last night, as I was preparing for this and setting up the room and everything, and I would grab my phone, and I'm in class. So every Thursday night, I'm on the computer for 2.5 hours for school. I'm getting my life coaching certification. And every time I did that, I looked down at the phone, I could feel that neck strain because now it's not in my subconscious mind, it's in my conscious mind. I could hear her voice adjusting me and telling me how to do it better and to raise things to my eye level. And so that I don't undo the work that we did yesterday. Didn't feel good. That work did not feel good. So I want it to last, right? I have to go back and do it all over again Monday. But in the meantime, I need to maintain that system. I need to be aware. Having her in is a part of my system now. Because if my physical body isn't operating well, my mental body is not going to operate well. My emotional being is not going to operate well. And if those things aren't operating well, I can't show up well, right? I'm uncomfortable. So I'm not focused on what I'm doing. I'm more focused on how I'm feeling and what's not working. And it just throws the entire thing off. So you have to ask yourself, what is my system? What's a part of my system? Do I have a system to start with? Because even a not so great system could be better than no system at all. Because if it's not so great, we can fine tune it. That's what we're talking about today. But if it doesn't exist, then that's a whole different story. We've got to build it. So what is it that you're trying to accomplish? I'm going to write a book. Okay, so if you're going to write a book, you are an author. You see yourself as an author. What does an author need? What's important for an author to have in terms of a system? You have to have the right equipment. I can't just have my iPad. So you guys can't see it, but it's in a container that has a keyboard attached, so I can operate with it very similar to what I could do with my iPad, with my laptop, right? It has, so I'm not trying to, with my fingers type on that thing. It sits in a way that it's self-contained, so I don't have to hold it. That thing is so, uncomfortable when I don't have the right things to hold my equipment. So I've got physical things that I need to have in my environment. I've got a light here and a light here, right? I have a desk that I can adjust. I have a massager in my chair. You would think, what does that have to do with you showing up in a podcast? Well, I'm sitting for hours at a time. So right now, even as I'm sitting, my feet are in a machine that has those Shih Tzu balls in it, and I can't actually let the massager go now because it's too loud. But I can rub my feet across it and get that relaxation and a little bit of massage. And then when we're done, I hit start and I can get a little blood circulation going even when I'm not moving, right? When I'm sitting for a long time. If I'm going to write, I need rest. I need to be able, because I need to be fresh, right? So that I can think clearly. I need just good space, organization. I know that I don't do well in a cluttered space. So last night I was decluttering. There's hardly anything on my desk now. I was getting all the stuff that's a visual distraction out of my space. What else do I need? Right? I need quiet. I need time dedicated to doing the work that I intend to do. What do you need in your system? I need support. I need people who recognize that what I need and they don't infringe upon that space. I had to go into the office yesterday for a little bit and I barely got in the door. I was on a call as I was walking in. So I had my headset in, but it's, the little AirPods, so it's not that easy to see. I didn't even get on the elevator. I just sat right there in the lobby so I could finish up the call. And within a matter of seconds, two or three people came over and started to talk to me. Those disruptions. So I'm trying to manage my call. I'm trying to be friendly and let them see that I'm on. Disruptions, distractions. I need all of that out of my space when I'm trying to do good, deep mental work. So you have to think through, what is it that I'm trying to accomplish? Where am I now? Where am I trying to go? Do I know someone who's accomplished what I'm striving for? Do I know an author? Do I have the pleasure of knowing someone who already has done what it is that I'm trying to do? That would be a good mentor or coach for me for that particular part of my life. So maybe I build that relationship and set up some sort of frequency of time that I can get with that individual and talk through what I'm doing. Maybe they'll download from me a little bit and share their process so I can understand how they did it. Maybe I'll become more efficient, right? So having the right people, the right tools, the right environment, all of that is a part of your system. And then ultimately the right mindset, right? I don't see myself as someone who wants to write a book, as someone who wants to be a speaker, as someone who is trying to get a podcast started. No, I see myself as an author who's a public speaker who runs a podcast and has a pretty fantastic 24-year career to boot. Don't see yourself trying to get somewhere, attempting to do things. Identify with what it is that you're working for right now, even before it comes into fruition in the physical world, in your reality. Allow it to be real in your mind and step into that identity right now, right? Step into it, determine who you are, and then act accordingly. Your brain will catch up. If you tell your brain you're something, it doesn't know any better than to believe you. That's why we have to be so careful about our words and our thoughts. We can't control all the thoughts that come through, but we can control which ones we give our attention to and we allow to hang out. If that thought is not serving you well, evict it immediately. Put it out, get rid of it, and only allow the ones to hang around that are going to help you on your journey. That mindset is the core, it's foundational to your system because the voice within wins. Somebody from the outside can tell you what a great author you are, how well you do this, that, or the other, and it's like it slides right off. It doesn't penetrate until you really believe it. That's why when we don't feel good about ourselves, we need so much encouragement all the time. We need somebody telling us we're good enough. We need somebody telling us that we're loved. Because if we're not feeling those things on the inside, as soon as they say it, you get that moment of nice and then it's gone. You need it again because it hasn't penetrated. It's not in here and it's not in here. You've got to get it in your heart and in your mind for you. If no one ever tells you how valuable you are, you have to know it for yourself. If no one ever tells you how much you're loved and the impact that you make on the world, you have to know it for yourself. And if you have trouble in that space, what system are you building? Are you speaking affirmations over yourself? Are you doing work on a regular basis that allows you to get into the right mindset? Are you able to encourage yourself? If you can't, that's the system that you need to begin to build. What do I need to feel good about me? What do I need to remember just how valuable and important and impactful my life is? I was born on purpose for a purpose. And so stepping in to that identity, understanding that purpose is such an important part of everyone's journey. And you need the right systems in place that keep you on that path, that keeps reminding you. I have people who message me every day, right? I wake up and I do my affirmations and I have my morning routine that gets me in that right mindset. When my routine is broken, I don't function quite as well. So it feels like something's missing. It's kind of off. So make sure you're building that routine that becomes a part of your system. And that's what's going to help you maintain and strive and progress towards the life that it is that you desire. So I want to say hello to everyone. I see quite a few messages coming through, which is always exciting. Michael says TGIF. Yes, TGIF. I'm so glad that it's Friday. I can rest this voice, rest this body. This weekend, I'm going to get up in the morning and go like every Saturday now. If we're home, our part of our routine is our run club. We go out and we run near the lake with a whole bunch of folks, and it's a great way to start the weekend. And then I can come home, take me a nice hot shower, and then I've got the rest of the day to pretty much relax and start that restoration process, preparing for that next week. And have your routine. What is your plan it? Know what it is that you're going to do with any given day so that you don't get swept up and everybody else's stuff, that you have the opportunity to do the things that are important to you, do the things that you need to do so that you are taking care of you and you're progressing towards the goals that you have for yourself. Know what it is, have that focus out the gate. This is what my day is going to look like. And disruptions will come, but you're able to quickly get back on track when you have an objective in mind. If you're just going through the motions, you can get blown with the wind any which way, and the day is over, and you haven't done any of the things that you intended because you didn't intend anything. You didn't build any type of plan or focus for yourself. Intending to rest is just as important as any other intention. So, because I know that's a big part of my tomorrow, when the opportunities come to do things, I already have my focus planned, so I'll say no to most of those things so that I can get the rest that I need. Conchita says, fabulous Friday to all. It's another amazing day to be grateful. Absolutely, absolutely. Kelly says, good morning, everyone. And she's busy tagging people and inviting them in. I hope Catherine joins us. Kim says, fabulous Friday. Lisa, happy Friday, everyone. Hey, Leah. Leah says, happy Focus Friday, champions. Right back at you. Good to see you with us in living color, Leah. Kim says, good morning, Conchita. I switched from Facebook to LinkedIn, so I'm on the same platform as you. Kelly says, my birthday is tomorrow. Well, happy early birthday, Kelly. I wish we had a show tomorrow so we could celebrate with you a little bit, but we can celebrate early. So, everyone, all throughout our show today, let's think about Kelly and send her happy birthday wishes, and that she may have a birthday that is more fulfilling, more supportive, more enjoyable than any that she's ever had. So we're sending love and light to you, Kelly. Conchita says, greetings, my dear Kim. We made it to Friday. Indeed. Oh, Kelly says, I'm going back to school. Excellent, excellent. I'd love to hear about what you're going to be doing, Kelly. So do share. Kim says, fabulous Friday. Oh, Friday. Made it. Make it a good one, all. Make it a good one. It's a choice, despite what's going on around you. Decide that you're going to make it a good one and then do the work necessary to make that so. Starting with your mindset. When the distractions come, instead of being overwhelmed and frustrated, decide. Decide that you're going to handle them well and you're going to keep moving through towards your goals. Make it a wonderful day on purpose. Leah says, step into the identity of who you intend to become. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. That really was born. I know you've read Atomic Habits, Leah. I think we've talked about that before. And James Clear talks a lot about your identity and taking on the identity of who you intend to be. It's one thing to say I'm trying to quit smoking. It's another thing to say I'm not a smoker, right? It's one thing to say I'm I'm trying to lose weight, it's another thing to say, I'm healthy. I make healthy choices. So stepping into that identity, it further deepens your connection with who you are becoming, right? And it puts it in the present. You are claiming it right now. And then you start to make the decisions that align with that identity. So, yeah, I'm all for that one. Um, Leah says, or worse yet, you reject those encouraging words. That's when we were talking. Yeah, it happens a lot. We used to talk about that quite a bit when we were first forming this team because it was something we noticed in common of a lot of us. Someone would compliment and you would go, "Oh no, I did," and just bat it away and not accepting those flowers. So that became a term that we talked about all the time. Learn to accept your flowers. Say thank you. Take a deep inhale. Bring it all in. Enjoy the beauty of that compliment and take it for what it is. Don't feel like you have to undo when someone is trying to do good by you. Conchita says, we are all born for a purpose that was determined before creation in our mother's wombs. That's why it's important to always seek divine guidance for our assignment in this world. Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Morris Carter says, good morning, my friend. Virtual hugs, Bunky. It's always good to see you when you show up. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Kelly says, thank you. You are very welcome. I'm excited about your birthday. I hope you have something wonderful planned and things beyond what you have planned. Just show up and you are swept up in goodness tomorrow, Kelly. Let's see. I see Catherine. Kelly invited Catherine, and here she is. She says, TGIF, everyone, and have a blessed weekend. Same to you. Oh, that's awesome. Kelly's going to get it. She's continuing her education, getting her GED. Congratulations. Congratulations. That's awesome. Conchita says, birthday blessings to you, Kelly. And I always think I'm messing this up, but I think it's Talonda laughing like so McMullen. She says, Kelly, thanks for the request to watch. Oh, today my mom died while I went into the hospital unresponsive. Oh my gosh, Talonda, I am so sorry to hear that. We are definitely sending love and light your way as well. And we pray that you have everything that you need to support you through such a difficult season. And she says, good morning and thanks. Y'all, you just never know. And Kelly says, thank you. I'm sorry, friend. Back to you, Talonda. We never know. We never know from one minute to the next what life is going to bring our way. We just never know what we're going to have to face. And that's why community is so important. That's why having that focus and having the right systems in place and doing the things that you need to do to take care of you and show up as the best version of yourself is so important, because sometimes, despite all of that, the rug just gets ripped right from underneath you and you're flat on your back looking up, facing things that you did not know you were going to have to face. And in those moments when you're at your weakest, when you're most vulnerable, that's when the autopilot kicks in. That's when the defaults kick in. That's why we talk about that pace period. When we learn new skills, we can't just think we're masters of those skills right away. We have to go through the paces and take those short, repeatable, consistent steps to really make those things our default. So imagine you have a tragedy happening in your life. You've done the work, right? You've worked on your mindset and this positivity and knowing that everything's going to be okay, knowing that your feelings are valid and you have to work through the process that you're in. You lean into that. But what if you had the habit of every time something went wrong, you took a drink or you hit some drugs or you got into a fight? Those are your default behaviors, right? So when life is stressful, you slide into those defaults. That's why it's so important and why we do this on repeat. Every Friday, we're talking about focus. Every Thursday, we're talking about gratitude. Every Wednesday, we're talking about being intentional, and so on and so forth, because we keep replaying it, looking at it from different ways, bringing that deeper and deeper and deeper into our being, so that when life takes a sucker punch at us, when we really have a hill to climb, we're falling back on these types of things. We're falling back on behaviors that are going to help us move through a situation and still be intact, versus allowing us to be completely overwhelmed and swept up by what's going on in that moment. That's why we do what we do, to get that good default within each and every one of us, so that we can maintain when life is throwing us those curveballs. Right? So, Talonda, we are definitely going to have you in our prayers and lifting you up as you go through this season. And yeah, the prayer is that you have everything that you need to go through, and that you are surrounded by precious memories alongside the grief to make it manageable as you go through this season. But you are definitely in our hearts and in our minds right now. Leah says, fantastic to be here live with you and the gentleman. We are glad to have you here with us as well. I am going to share our quote for today, and a few thoughts, and then we'll go over to Brian. And then, like always, we'll wrap up with some actionable steps. So, our quote for today comes from Benjamin Franklin. Without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning. I had to read that thing a few times and just let it really sink in. Without continual growth and progress, continual, those small gradual steps, that continuous learning, that evolution over time, allowing the transformation and the changes to set in. Without that, we don't really have improvement, achievement, and success. We'll get to a place, and then that's where we'll be. But if we want to continue to be able to talk about improvement, to see new achievements, to experience more success, we have to stay in a cycle of continual growth and progress. Otherwise, I can say I improved, I've achieved some things, I've had success, past tense. But if we're talking about improvement, achievement, and success, those things are continuing along the spectrum. What was improvement today is past tense tomorrow. So if I'm going to continue to improve, I have to continue to move forward. I have to continue to evolve. I have to continue to work on me, right? Keep striving, right? So I thought that was such an interesting quote. One of the ones that just kind of had to rattle around in the head a little bit for it to land somewhere for me. Without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning. Benjamin Franklin. Interesting quote that I wanted to share with you guys. But I thought it aligned well with our theme and our topic for today, fine tuning your system for maximum impact. You don't fine tune every day. Maybe you do, but your system is running, and you have to take a look at it. Okay, can it be run more efficiently? Can I be more accurate? What are areas where things could run smoother? So there's this kind of continual assessment of it, and making adjustments along the way to make things work the best that they possibly can for that maximum impact. Right? It's one thing. I'll give you an example. I started writing by accident as far as publishing things. I wrote just a little pamphlet, like around vision board parties, because I was hosting quite a bit of them, and I still do. But every time I would host one, I would get all the participants in a group text, and then I would send them information about what a vision board party is, the types of things and what it isn't, the types of things that we do, how they should go about preparing, how important goal setting is, that it's not just a craft project, but it's really getting intimate with yourself and getting that clarity around what it is you want to accomplish. And then we find the pictures and the words that show that, so that you get this visual representation. So I would write out some things every single time and text it to the group. So finally I typed it up and I was like, well, at least I can just, send an attachment and not write this or go back and find it and cut and paste it every time. So I was improving my system, right? It went from a text to an attachment. And then I just had that voice, well, you've got it all written up. Why don't you just format it and publish it? And that way anybody who's interested in it can get it. So then I had to learn how to do that. How do I publish it? And so the very first thing I made available on Amazon was this very little thin book, kind of like a pamphlet is what I call it now. And I was so proud. I was now officially an author without even intending to be. Things just kind of unfolded that way. Well, one of the things that when we were doing vision board parties that we keyed in on, and it would be a specific part of the party, was goal setting. And I wanted more and more ways to discuss that. And I was real big on taking these big audacious goals and breaking them down all the way to the daily actionable steps. That became a workbook, much more content, much bigger than the first thing that I published. So now I have my little pamphlet, my little vision board guide. Now I've got a workbook that people can grab, and you start by dreaming and getting really clear about what you want. And then you've got the pages to actually plan it out. And by the time you're done, you have your action plan and you know exactly what you're going to do every day to meet the bigger goal that may be a year or more out. Done, checked it off. Now I'm more content, and I'm continuing to be an author. Well, eventually, you guys know last March, I produced an actual book. So I wrote, I had this framework of all the things that I've been talking about. It became really clear to me how to put that all together in a way that's consumable and can help people with their personal growth and development. And so I'm writing the book. And as I was writing the book, all these exercises were coming to mind. If they do this, they'll really understand what I'm trying to convey in this chapter. And it was all these things. So I said, well, they need a place to put all that. So this time it was both a book and an accompanying workbook for them to do the work and the exercises and all the stuff that was a part of the book. So over time, I can see the progress from this little bitty pamphlet to the workbook, to a book and a workbook being combined together. Who knows what's going to be next? It hasn't hit me yet. It hasn't hit me yet, but I know I'm not done. There'll be something will trigger the next thing that's the right thing for me to add to my library, right? Now I'm not just an author, but I have a library of work. You have to see yourself and the things that you're doing in some valid, valuable light. I have a library. 3 or 4 titles, 4 titles you can find in my name. That's a library of work. Wouldn't have thought about it that way until just this moment. That's what came out. But we really have to realize what we're doing. And it's often difficult because we're in it. You're busy doing your thing. You're doing the stuff that you do. So you don't even see that progress. But that's continual growth. That's progress. That's me improving. That's me achieving. That's me seeing a measure of success. And you have those stories in your space too. But do you know what they are? Are you aware? Are you able to see yourself like that? What's your title? What's your identity? As an author, I can see that progress, right? As a speaker, I can see that progress, right? I started off just doing videos and uploading the videos. Eventually, I started showing up live. Then I started doing virtual events. Now I've done a handful of on the stage with the microphone type events, and I've got one of those coming up next weekend. See the progress. It's important because it builds your self-confidence. It builds your resilience. It helps you to see that you might not be where you'd like to yet. I don't have my TED Talk Oprah or Tabitha or Renee, they haven't called, right? The Cassandra Terry Morning Show is not syndicated. You got to get on one of these social media platforms to find it. But that doesn't mean that all of those things are not in progress in some form or fashion. Because I'm not done. I'm not done until it's over. As long as I'm here, as long as I'm breathing, as long as I'm taking up space, there's something for me to do. And that gives me joy. That gives me focus and direction, and it makes my days valuable. I want that for everybody, for each and every one of you. Your days are valuable, but are you squandering them? If you don't have a plan for today, if your plan is just to go through the motions and see what's going to happen, you're missing out on a big opportunity. You've been blessed with the gift of time. It's up to you what you do with it. So focus on it. Build the systems that you need to have in place to ensure that you get where it is that you'd like to go. How do we go about doing that? I've got a couple ideas. I want you to evaluate your system and refine it. If it's not there, build it, evaluate it over time, and continue to refine it, right? Look at what you have in place. I was looking around last night and I was like, I'm starting to have too much stuff in here. The grandkids were here, they were drawing and cutting, and I just needed to go through and reset my environment. It feels so good in here to me today. There's more white space than not. And that I know that's what my brain needs, because I can follow the squirrels and get distracted by all the stuff that's going on around me. So I root out the stuff and keep it calm and clean and quiet. That helps me to stay focused. So yesterday I had to do some refining, had to fine tune the environment. My body hasn't been feeling well. All that travel, I've done a lot of travel in the last 30 days or so, and it had taken a toll on the body. So to the point to where it was affecting my mood a couple of days ago. It was just that uncomfortable. So it was time to do something about it. So yesterday I spent 2 hours with the chiropractor, getting adjusted, being told about how to set things up, doing what's necessary for the physical body, right? I start my days with my gratitude and my morning routine. That's a part of my system. When I do those things, my days absolutely go better, right? I'm making sure to move more. Still not enough. She told me I got to get up every hour and move. And it's necessary for me to get this spinal column and these hips back in the place to keep them where they need to be. I've got to move more. I have a job that has me sitting for hours and hours and hours on end. Remember yesterday I talked about those reminders? I'm going to set up some reminders today so that every hour it goes off and says, get up and move. I'll have to do it once, and then I can set it to repeat every hour, right? Move the body, something that'll make me smile. Take a couple steps, whatever. Set up a reminder so that it's built into my system so that I'm giving my body what it needs. I don't get a new body. This one has lasted me 56 years and counting. And if I don't get some of this stuff in control now, I can just imagine how I'm going to feel at 60 and 70 and 80. Because I plan on being here for a while. I got stuff to do. So I'm going to be here for a while. And I want the journey to be as comfortable as possible. I want my wits about me, like my grandmother, who's 98. Still one of the smartest people I'll ever talk to. Quick wit, funny, and she's able-bodied. But she did some stuff along the way. She took good care of herself along the way so that those things are all true now. I've got to do better. I've got to take care of my physical, take care of my mental, take care of my emotional, so when I'm 98, I'm not bedridden, I'm not miserable. My body still supports me. If I do things now, I set myself up for that success. Having that system in place. Thinking about yourself that way, not just going along to get along. So evaluate and refine and give yourself what you need. It's important to have a feedback loop. The feedback loop are the people in your life that you trust, that you know that are here and rooting for you and have your best interests at heart. Listen to those folks. If they're telling you you're not sleeping enough, if they tell you that you seem like you're off, you don't seem like yourself, right? If they tell you you seem to be overdoing, listen to them. Ask them what they see that may be blind to you, maybe in the shadows. What do they see? How are you coming across to them? Because they typically know you very, very well. So have the folks, have the network, the community where you can hear honest feedback from a loving place that's intended to help you continue to improve. The feedback loop is important. Your system is designed to help you accomplish something. So you need to know what the output is. Why is your system in place? How do you know that it's being successful? In the job, we call those key performance indicators, KPIs, right? What are the KPIs? Are we expecting this percentage of that? We expect by this date, these things are going to happen. Look at your system and you have to monitor it to see if it's working for you. Is it giving you what it is that you need, right? Is it giving me what I need to move towards what I've identified as success? And when you find places where it's not working so well, it's not supporting your journey, that's where you make the adjustments. So you want to monitor and adjust your systems just like the things you would do on the job. Most folks on the job have systems that they're working within, and there's particular outputs that you're expecting from that system. And when things don't work as well, right? If your system is building round holes and a square widget comes out, you know somewhere along the way something in the system is off and you have to go back and make an adjustment. But in order to do that, you need to know what the output is supposed to be. What is it that this system is designed to accomplish? And then you can see how well it's doing and make the necessary adjustments. And then the continuous improvement. I see myself as a lifelong learner. I'm a lifelong learner. As a lifelong learner, I'm open, I'm flexible, I'm ready to learn new things, and the things that will help me with my journey, I incorporate them in. I integrate them into my system, into my life, and I keep moving forward. Now I'm even more prepared to be successful because I've taken that class. Now I'm more prepared to do this well because I built this into my morning routine and it gets me going. Whatever it is that you need, continuous improvement. Don't get so stuck in how things are that you miss the opportunity to see how they can be. Things can always improve. And I'm not saying never be satisfied, but I'm saying keep your eye on the prize and see when things can move smoother, things that you can learn can help you moving forward. Continuous improvement is a positive thing. It keeps us young, it keeps us spry, it keeps us mentally strong, it keeps us relevant in what's going on in the world today, right? So we don't want to fight the things that can actually help us. We want to actually expand our abilities through continuous improvement. So quite a few comments have come in. Let me recognize those, and then Brian, we will be over to you. Let's see. Kelly says, that's so crazy because before I had my stroke, I used to have a drink when I had a bad day, and that was my default. Yeah, I was using that as an example. I certainly wasn't pointing it at you or anybody that's listening or even myself, but it's an easy thing to, when you think about defaults. Some people, when they get upset, they need to shadow box. They need to get the energy out. Some people are going to go have a drink. Whatever the case may be, understand what your default is. Ask yourself if that is healthy for you, if it's helpful for you, and if you need to adjust your system by replacing it with a new behavior, by all means, do so. Kayla says, now I don't drink anymore. Excellent. Conchita says, love that quote because the key word is continual. Exactly. That's something I have to really work diligently to maintain. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Yes, that's why we talk about those small, repeatable steps. That's why we talk about having a system in place, because what you consistently do, you will become, right? So it's the doing is where the action actually takes place, but it has to be consistent. Kim says, you stayed focused. Focus gets us to the finish, goal if you stay focused. Exactly. And she says, I need to focus more. Get building, Kim. Let's go, Kim. You've got this. Conchita says, as long as we have breath in our bodies, there's work to be done. We are commanded to make wise use of our divine gifts. Absolutely. Leah said, that's right. Today started last night. Having an evening routine to prepare for the next day is critical for me. I love that. And I think it's so important. Yes. Conchita says, great Jim. I want the journey to be as comfortable as possible. Thanks for that reminder, Cassandra. And I see Kelly has invited Shanice. Kelly says, that's what I think for myself. Think of myself as a lifelong learner. Absolutely. And Lisa says, loving what you're giving us today. I'm so glad, Lisa. I'm glad you're here and I'm glad the conversation is resonating with us. Mr. Content, Dadpreneur. I know you've got little Bree right next to you and you've been all in daddy mode today. But if you are able, I'd love for you to unmute and share what your thoughts are with us today.
Thanks, Cassandra. I
You're
got
welcome.
kicked out.
Uh oh.
Yeah, she kicked me out to space. It's
You were
all
making
good.
too much noise.
Oh, you're
She's like, who's
right.
that lady's voice? I'm trying to sleep. Tell that lady to be quiet.
She knows who it is. Yeah, I got kicked out to space. It's all good. It's all good. So, yeah, focus. It's really ironic that you mentioned the dadpreneur part
Hmm.
of my existence
Hmm.
because last night part of what I had been working on for over 20 years, I started to see the manifestation of it.
Hmm.
And when I started to think about goals and putting systems in place, I don't expect an immediate result. I got an idea in mind about when I'd like to see when I'd like to start to see the results, when I'd like to start to see the work that I've been doing, start to manifest and turn into something tangible.
Hmm.
But honestly, we never really know when it's gonna when that time is gonna happen, right? We never really know when that thing is gonna become the thing that we have been planning to work on.
Hmm.
Anyway, last night I walked into the room. Bree was in she was in the master suite, and I walked up behind and I tapped her on her shoulder.
Hmm.
And when I tapped on her shoulder, she didn't turn around. She didn't get scared. She didn't say, "Oh, you scared me." She turned around and she gut punched me. I mean, solid. I mean, solid, man, solid.
Ouch.
And yeah, and I looked at her and I smiled. I said, "Man, that's exactly how I want you to do in life. Somebody comes behind you and tries to check you, and then they're not supposed to be there. You gut punch them." She said, "Oh, like this," and she did it again. I said, "Yeah, like that." And I wasn't upset or anything because that's what I've been working on, right? That's what I had been telling her to do. We like literally we had been training for that, right?
Hmm.
We always I'm always doing something with her to help her improve her self-defense skills.
Hmm.
Not just because she's a little girl, but because she's my little girl. I want her to be ready for life.
Hmm.
And that's something that I had started to prepare for years ago, right? Not just from a fighting standpoint, from a physical fighting standpoint, but from a mental fighting standpoint, and not just for her, but for me.
Hmm.
When I first started, being an entrepreneur, all I focused on was money. That was my focus. How much money can I make? How much wealth can I amass in this period of time? And one day, all of that shifted. That was before the kids came around. That was before the wife came around. All of that shifted. All of that changed. And I didn't know how I was going to change, everything that I was working on. I didn't even know how I was going to get out of it. I
Hmm.
just knew that that wasn't what I wanted if I wanted children. And I did. I wanted I wanted kids. I wanted somebody that was going to continue on doing what I was doing. So guess what? I had to check what I was doing. What am I doing? Is this something that I want my children to build a legacy off of? Is this what I want to indoctrinate them into, and everything started to change, right? So the business model changed. The the way that I looked at uh, success changed. The way I looked at family changed. Everything changed when my focus changed. And this is to get to that point. So last night, after I got gut punched twice, I was sitting down and I was going over what I'm gonna do today to speak to what Leah said earlier about today started tomorrow.
Started last night.
Well, last night. She said last night.
They started tomorrow.
Me,
Okay, I'm following.
today started. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's right. That's right. Tomorrow starts today. That's what I meant to say.
That's it. Yeah.
I'm still feeling the after effects of that gut punch. Tomorrow starts today. So we were sitting down and we were going over what we were going to do today.
Mm-hmm.
And I got an alert from your page that said Focus Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And she's always looking over my phone. She's always looking over my shoulder, trying to see what I'm doing. And I don't mind. I don't really have anything to hide, unless it's something for her and I don't want to see it yet. But she looked at that. I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm focusing. I'm focusing on what I want to do." I said, "Oh, okay then." I said, "You focusing?" And I had to figure out where are you getting focusing from? What makes you think? And I realized she was looking at my screen. I said, "Oh, okay, let's focus. Let's focus on what we want to do." And when I think about focusing, when I think about doing that thing, it goes back to what Conchita said about objectives. We were already, believe it or not, there are paths that are already laid out for us,
Mm-hmm.
multiple paths, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to decide, am I going to go down that path that was designed for me? But you can't decide if you don't know what that path is. You have to figure out what's that definite objective. What am I going to do with my life? What am I going to be? What is my purpose? Right? What is it that God wants for me? What who am I? What am I here for? When you figure that out, when you start to, and I'm not saying when you figure out what your definite objective is, when you figure out that it's bigger than you, that there's something you're called to do, everything else starts to shift. That definite objective is quintessential to figuring out what you're supposed to do with your life. If you don't have that, it's like going into a room and you start to, I don't know if you've ever painted a floor, if you've ever, put down flooring. But when you put down flooring, you don't go outside in, you go
Right.
inside
Right.
out.
Mm-hmm.
You start at the end and you work your way out. That's how that works. But that's not the way that we're taught to do it. So we have to reframe our way of thinking and understand that in order for us to go anywhere in life, we have to see all the way to the end first and then work our way back. When I started to do that, everything else started to change. It started to change in a way that I can't even put into words, right? It's so surreal because I'm able to see the end. And when I'm seeing the end, I can see what I need to do to get to where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Focus. People go about creating systems the wrong way. My mom she used to have this saying, don't do something for me when you want something from me.
Mm-hmm.
You need to plan this out. If you expect me to give you something, you need to be planning out 2, 3 months ahead, doing all kind of stuff for me so that I don't even think about everything that you did when you come to ask me for something. I'd like to think that's how God thinks also. We go to God and we talk about setting goals and praying and doing this and doing that. Like my partner say, this, that, and the third. And you wait until you need something to set that goal. You wait until you need something to ask for that direction. See it to the end first, and you will already be preparing. You won't wait until you need a goal to be set, right? You want that achievement to be accomplished. If you decide today, Hey, I saw Kelly said something about going back to school. If
Mhm.
she decided today, okay, I want to go and finish this degree. Well, you're not going to finish that degree today, right? That's not going to happen, right? You're going to have to plan at least 2 years out to get that degree, or 1 year out, depending on the curriculum. But you're going to have to plan out to get that. That's what life is. That's what focus is. That's what goal setting is. That's what systems are. Systems are preparation. You have to prepare. And I know you talk about that with the 4 P's.
Mhm.
That preparation is fundamental, it's foundational. It's what makes everything work. Everything that you're doing, you're building on that foundation, whether you know it or not, every single day. And you can be painting outside in if you want, or you can do it the right way and paint inside out. When you start to go inside out, everything changes. Use that metaphor in your life. Don't focus on what's outside. Focus on what's inside first, and let that light shine. Right? I hate to sound like a preacher, but let that light shine. Right? Start on the inside and work your way out. That's how you get to. That's how you get to that point of understanding. That's how you get to that point of focusing. Like Bree said, I'm focusing. I'm focusing. I'm focusing. I'm focused. I'm focused, man. I'm focused. Focus on inside out, not outside in. Outside in is that's the quick way to do it. That's how people want to do it. They want to do it outside in because it's quick. That mean I can get started right now and I can look for that microwave lifestyle right now. This is not a microwave life, man. It's crock pot. It's slow cooking. It's preparing. It's cutting up all the stuff you need, putting it in, sitting there, waiting for it to simmer, expecting it to be ready 10 hours from now. That's when you'll get to enjoy it. I could not have been where I'm at right now if I had a just started planning to be a good dad today. The reason this is going the way it's going is because long before I had kids, something came to me and said, I want you to be a dad, and this is what you're going to have to do. So I had to drop off everything that I was doing. I was meeting with a prospect a couple of weeks ago,
Mhm.
and somewhere or another, the conversation came up about, how I maintain my life with with a small child. I was like, there is no life. The child is the life now, right? She's my everything. But you don't go out and you don't, man, I'm not, listen, my little girl is the most important thing in the world right now. Now, when she gets older and she starts to have kids, her kids will be the most important thing in the world. But while she's small, she's the most important. And I'm not bringing her around just anybody, right? Even if they're my friends, we're gonna we're gonna let that simmer for a while. We're gonna let y'all stay over there. I'm gonna stay over here, and then as she gets older, I'll start to introduce her to more stuff. But right now, the focus is on her. Everything changed because she is top priority, and I knew that 20 years ago. Right? I knew that 25 years ago, this is going to be my priority. What do I need to do now to have that life that I want 25 years from now? Is
Yep.
everything going to be perfect? Right? No, it's not going to be perfect. Is everything going to go the way I plan? Absolutely not. I think we all know this, right? But like you said, when you put a system in place, then you can have those contingencies ready for when those things start to happen. So if I had to say one thing today, it'd be inside out, not outside in.
Love it. Love it. And you were able to start building those systems because you claimed the identity 20 years ago. Before, was Brissette, she just
Absolutely.
7?
She's 7. Absolutely.
She just turned 7, but 13 years before she came into existence, you already decided that you were going to be a father. Not just a dad, not just the whatever, but you were going to be a certain type of role. You were going to claim that role for the children that were to come. And then you started to make
Yep.
decisions that aligned with that identity. That's why it's
Yep.
so important to know, who do you say you are? Who do you say you are? Because who you believe you are is how you're going to think, and how you think is how you're going to behave, and how you behave dictates what you create. We are all creating stuff all the time, but are you creating what it is that you really want? We're all on a journey all the time, but are you going where you would like to go? When you bring all of this into your conscious mind and you start to identify with who you are and you align with that identity, now you're more conscious and more controlling and more aware of that journey, of that widget that you're building. You know what the end result will look like because you started planning for it in advance. Don't be like, I was in my gardening yesterday, and there was this feather that fell on my okra plant, and I could see it from the window. It looked weird. I was like, what is that white thing on my plant? So I was worried that the plant was getting some sort of disease or something. So I went outside to take a closer look, and it was just a feather. That feather was sticky. It took me a minute to actually get it off the plant. So it was holding on where I didn't want it to be, but I knew it shouldn't be there. So I had to do the work to get rid of it. And then when I lifted it and I finally got it off, it was like magic. It was just gone. It just floated. The wind took it. And we live like that, at the mercy of the wind. It blows us here, it blows us there. Wherever we end up, we start to do the things that we always do. We are more important than that. We are more valuable than that. We are more capable than that. Don't be like that feather that's just blown here and there, hither and yonder with the wind. No. Just be determined, be aware, be conscious of where you're going, and build a roadmap that's actually going to get you there. Have that system in place that's going to keep you charting the course and along the course that you're charting. Otherwise, you end up anywhere. And I think we do that more than we realize. We are at the mercy of the circumstances that are going on around us. The circumstances may pause us, they may cause us to have to detour. But if you have an end goal in mind, that definite objective, Leah says, great wisdom, Brian. Think and Grow Rich refers to it as definite purpose. If you have that definite purpose, even when the obstructions happen, when you're thrown off track, you get back, you chart a course that's still going to take you where it is that you intended to go. But if you have no destination, if you're not clear about what you intend, you end up anywhere, at the mercy of the wind, at the mercy of the circumstances that are happening around you. So that we want more than that for you. So let me see. Kim said, that's great. That's what I preached at work continuously as HR, that it's important. And it just hit me. The same applies to home. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Fabulous Friday. Absolutely. It applies everywhere. Wherever it is that you're trying to accomplish something, you need consistency in order to make that happen. It's not enough to do one rep. You have to work out on a regular basis and keep upping your reps along the way. That's the continuous improvement. And then you'll see the change. Lisa says, love that Brian is always able to take lessons he teaches his daughter to lessons we can also learn and use. And she said, by the way, tell your daughter to aim that punch a little lower if it's a stranger to be more effective. LOL. Leah says, great wisdom, Brian. Think and Grow Rich refers to this as the definite purpose. And she said, that's right. So many people have a microwave mindset, but really have crock pot, slow cooking dreams. And Kim says, I love the crock pot. It just melts in your mouth after cooking all day. Therefore, relating it to life inside out will make more things melt together nicely. Not the perfect words, but all I could come up with quickly. Go, Brian. Thank you. Very good. Those words are great, Kim, and they create a picture. We know exactly what it is that you mean. So thank you for sharing that. So we are about to wrap up. I have a word for you guys to take with you into the weekend. And it's really what we talk about all the time, right? And that's our ability to grow. When you're growing, you are living, you're evolving, you are improving. And that's why we are here consistently looking at different aspects of our lives and different ways that we can grow. You guys know I love acrostics. So that's what we're dealing with today with grow and how you can maximize, keep fine tuning your system for maximum impact. So, first, you need to gauge it. That's our G in grow. Gauge it, measure your progress regularly, keep an eye on it. Are things moving the way that they should? And then you want to refine. As you're gauging and you see things that need to be adjusted, make those necessary adjustments so that you can improve. And you want to consistently optimize your system, enhance it for efficiencies and effectiveness. When you've got an output, you see how something went, then you can evaluate and go, okay, what would have made this go faster, been more accurate, go a little bit smoother, and that's what may have better impact. And that's how you look for opportunities to enhance your system to make it work more efficiently and have greater impact or be more effective. And then lastly, you want to keep watch over it. Keep a close eye on your system's performance. Those are KPIs. What do you intend to accomplish with this system? And as you watch it, you're asking yourself, am I getting what I expected? And if you're not getting what you expect, you go back to the R. You refine, right? You make the necessary adjustments so that you get back on track and you keep moving towards the goals that you have for yourself. So that's what I wish for you guys every day, is that you continue to grow through gauging, refining, optimizing, and watching that system to ensure that you have the things in place to create the life that you have, that you'd like to design for you. All right, that's it for today, guys. We have made it through another week. I'm excited to be headed into the weekend, and I hope you are too. Rest and relaxation is on the table, so take it, and then you start all over again on Monday. On Sunday, start thinking about what your Monday is going to be. What do I want to accomplish? And then you get up Monday morning with that in mind, and you work that routine, starting with your mindset. You take care of your physical body, take care of your emotional needs, and then you are ready to go and win the week. Let's see, I see one more comment that just came in. Oh, Kim says, happy weekend to all of you, and thank you. Same to you. Have a wonderful weekend. Join us back here Tuesday for Transformation Tuesday at 7:15 a.m. Central. And in the meantime, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And remember that the life that you desire is there for your taking. Just go and get it. Happy Friday, everybody. I'll see you guys back here on Tuesday.